Hey Married at First Sight fans, welcome back to the channel. My name's Shantia, if you don't know. If you're new to this channel, I do Married at First Sight reviews here. Okay, so today I wanted to go ahead and talk about the couples. We're going to do a review for episode 4. Let me just drink some water. I feel like my voice is kind of crackly. Okay, so I'm just going to go in order with the names on my phone here. I just look at the names because I don't want to, well, it helps me to have something written down, I guess. Okay, so let's just start with our first couple, Lindy Miguel. So officially all the couples are married. I'll talk about Morgan and Ben at the end of this review. So they're all married and now they've gone to the hotel. They spend their one night, their first night together, their first wedding night. And then they get to go meet the families. They get to go meet the parents, the friends, and connect and get some insight into what the other person might be hiding or the potential issues that might show up in their partnership. So that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and start with Lindy and Miguel. So the first thing that started happening with Lindy and Miguel, they're cute together. They got a nice, low-key, bubbly, sweet vibe in common. But then Lindy starts spiraling because she can't find something in her suitcase or it's not bright enough. I don't know. And Miguel's like, he's a pretty low-key guy, but I think he said, "I'm not turned off yet." That was the key phrase I remember him saying. He said, "I'm not turned off yet." So that means it's something that would turn him off, is someone spiraling and someone not having the best psychological or emotional reaction to something. So Lindy's all like, "Oh, I need someone to calm me down. I have a tendency to spiral." Yeah, so like, it's always funny when someone says that to me because I'm just like, it's not a good thing. I understand that you think it's cute, but it's not actually cute. Like, you got to work on that, and it has nothing to do with your partner. And waiting for a partner to compensate for that issue isn't going to help you resolve. It's not going to help you resolve your relationship. So it's just not, in my opinion, it's not the best way to go about anything. So she starts spiraling and he's just like, "Are you okay?" And he's just like, "Oh, I don't know. Might be a red flag. If I was dating someone, I probably would say no. But because she's my wife, I'm going to have to say yes." So that was like the main conflict that turned up for them. Later on, they are also like, I think, cuddling and kissing. So that's like always a good sign. Later on, when she went to go meet with his family, she brought up her debt issue. And she talked about how she was not interested in, right now she just wants to enjoy her life. That was like the main thing that came through. She probably makes decent money, not great money. She doesn't make enough to pay off her debt in full. She has a PhD, so I imagine it is a lot of debt, a lot of schooling debt. And yeah, finances is a big thing. Miguel's sister's issue with that was that he had been with women before who she felt were not contributing. He has a tendency to be a protector provider, so he doesn't mind helping out in that sense, and he's been with partners who apparently have not contributed. So he's trying to do things a little bit differently. When it comes to finances, it just all depends on you and your partner, your personalities, and what works for you. I'm not going to judge people about, "Oh yeah, you should be working," or no, it really just depends on what you and your partner are okay with. But where I do agree with Miguel's sister, there should be an exchange. Now, it might not be in a monetary exchange, like maybe someone is taking care of more of the finances, but there should be an exchange in the sense that you're bringing something to the partnership so that your partner feels like, they're not holding the weight of the relationship or holding the weight of everything going on in life, like household chores. Like, there's a way to kind of balance things out, even if it's not monetarily. So that's a discussion they have to have. They were talking about it in bed for a minute. Lindy does seem more interested in enjoying her life as opposed to, really tackling debt. And apparently he gets paid really good money doing what he does. So yeah, that would be an interesting conversation in the future for them. I don't know. I really don't have anything to add to it. I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing that she's focused on herself and living her life. I think, yes, you need to be responsible when it comes to finances, but I'm a creative person and I believe in prosperity, and I believe in abundance. I believe in prosperity. I believe in, yes, all of that should be coming towards you. But sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away when you're building your vision. But I believe down the road, yes, you should make plans to get to where you want to go. If you have goals, set goals. So if anything, they just need to be on the same page and have that conversation about setting goals and knowing where they're going to be at. Because, accumulating debt, I hope you're paying off some of your student loan debt. Accumulating debt is not great. So at least have a plan for tackling that. And maybe he can help her. He doesn't necessarily have to go and hey, I'm going to help you pay for everything. But maybe he can give her some ideas about how she can be much more financially literate, which is unfortunately something that feminines have a tendency to lack in, is financial literacy. But in this day and age, it's a choice to not be financially literate because there's the internet and you have access to everything. So there's no excuse. Okay. Other than that, I think Miguel, so he had a conversation with her brother and sister, and they were talking about, not brother and sister, her brother and their mother. Her brother apparently called her his little sister. So he's younger. He's older. I thought he was younger. So that part caught me off guard. But other than that, they were talking about the intimacy. I feel like just going up to someone and saying, you should wait. Yes, you should wait, but it's your choice. And I felt like they were scripting him, coaching him, telling him what to do in his relationship. And I don't find that okay. I'm like, he's a grown person. She's a grown person. They can make their own grown choices about whether they want to be intimate in their partnership or not. So that's not really for you to judge or say anything or be a part of. That's between the wife and the husband. So that's just my thing. I'm like, they're grown people. They can make their own choices about their intimate life. Okay. Moving on. So moving forward, I saw the previews about how things were going to spiral. We'll see. I'll talk about it at the end, but it's not looking too great for some of these couples. Let's talk about Kristin and Mitch. Kristin and Mitch are trying to push through. Kristin is still being her optimistic self when it's so funny. Out of all the couples, all the couples when they're in their scenes where they're taking their dress off, her and Mitch's scene was so authentic and awkward. I thought it was hilarious. Because it was just so awkward and authentic. He's just oh yeah, let me take, it was not romantic at all. And then you got Stacia and Nate, and they're all take off my dress. Look at me, looking cute. It was a totally different scene. And I'm like, what the heck? Why did Kristin and Mitch get the awkward camera shake edit while Stacia and Nate get the slow-mos, sensual scenes? I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, so Kristin and Mitch, what I like about the two of them is they are authentic. They are themselves. They are themselves. They both seem like honest, genuine people. She's trying, to make that connection and get along with him. And she's just staying on the optimistic side of life, which I think is great. But you just want to make sure you're paying attention to the cues. And Mitch also is just trying to go along for the ride. So while Kristin was having a conversation with his family during their breakfast, I think it was, or lunch, they were talking about how, oh yeah, he can be very difficult and moody and da-da-da. And I was just oh, I'm like, run, girl, run. I appreciate the family's honesty, because she does have to be prepared for that. But she's oh, he's a rebel. Oh, that's fine. I got him. I got his back. I'm a ride or die wife. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know about that. So Mitch was having lunch or breakfast with her mother and a couple of her friends, and what were they talking about? The financial thing came up, right? Because he's all about fighting the climate. He doesn't focus on finances. So they're going to need to have that conversation between the two of them. What's going to be the deal with that? Because she supports the heck out of her partners. She paid for the wedding and the ring. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? She paid for the wedding and ring with her savings on top of that. That's what really makes me feel that. She used her life savings. She went on the trip, but she did not get married, so that's just the only thing. What else is there to add? Yeah, I hope she doesn't continue to overcompensate in her partnerships and just sees her worth and understands he should be doing some things too. Now, Mitch is a nice guy. but in the areas where here's my thing, as a woman, she was talking about roles and traditional roles, and believing in transcending traditional roles. I know that people call them traditional roles, but they're also natural roles as well. And I'm all about understanding the dynamic of like what's natural to us, like what feels comfortable to us. Now, it does change, right? It shifts a little bit and it morphs according to what period of life you're in, right? You might take on a less traditional role or a more traditional role. And it also depends on your personality and what works for you. But to some degree, biologically, we have like natural tendencies for how we operate. And I know typically for women, if you're the one who is like doing a lot of the providing and like overcompensating in that sense, eventually it's going to really, really, really burn you out. So I'm just like, avoid the burnout and make sure you ask right away. If you want something, let them know. But the thing is, that's why love is important, because if you cultivate that trust and love and that connection with someone, then yeah, they're more willing to like put in that effort to make sure you're getting your needs met and their needs are met too. So yeah, we'll see. As far as like, do they got it? Do they not got it? I don't know. Apparently, in the future episodes, we were let into the fact that they are actually giving it an effort. They are actually trying to advance their relationship. So I'm like, okay, we'll see where this ride goes. That's how I feel about Kristin and Mitch. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next couple, which is Alexis and Justin. So Alexis and Justin, so a lot of physical chemistry between the two of them. They're both very comfortable with each other. Sometimes I'm like, okay, did I need to know all of that with the two of them? I feel that way a lot. It's like, did I need to know all of that? Did you need to say that on TV? But hey, they're just both very open books for what's going on in their life. That's their personality. As long as they're vibing together and they're both comfortable with one another, I think that's great. What was the thing? So the thing that came up when Justin had a meal with her sisters is her sisters were like, we're strong women. We say what we want. And he was all like, oh, I'm a sensitive guy. I cry. I like that. He's like, well, this is who I am and I'll accept her for who she is. And then they talked about the communication thing where they're like, okay, if you were needing to work through things, how would you talk to her? How would you address it? He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. So I do feel like he's ready for this. He does feel ready to me for marriage and this relationship, for the commitment. The thing that came up for him when Alexis was having a meal with his family was that he's sensitive. People keep bringing it up. He's sensitive. So yeah, that's just something for her to keep in mind. But she was like, oh, I don't mind that he's sensitive. I'm very accepting of that. I like Alexis' energy. I like her vibe. And we'll see how things unfold. Sometimes couples are always like, oh yeah, that's okay. Remember when Noy, Steve's father told Noy, oh, he's a vagabond. And she was like, oh yeah. And then she just kind of like brushed it off. But then it became a problem later because that vagabond was kind of a part of the essence of where he was at or is at in his life. And that I don't think she could get with, right? She couldn't really agree with that. So yeah, don't brush things off the shoulder. Sometimes I think the couples are like overly optimistic, like, oh no, that's totally fine. But then again, I would never recommend getting married at first sight for anyone. I think don't do that. But overall, I do like it when they have some sort of optimistic mindset about how they see things. And I think that's fine. So yeah, they're cute together. They have a lot of chemistry together. I like how open they are about discussing they're a little bit too open for me about all the details, but I like how energetically open they are about their connection, their relationship, where they're at, and they've had those conversations. So that's a good start. Moving on to Sassy and Nate. So Sassy and Nate, Stacia is really feeling Nate. Stacia is really feeling Nate. She's really attracted to her husband. She said he was like 11. I'm like, dang girl, really? So I'm happy for her. Like, she's just really happy. She's very attracted to him. She's vibing with him. I'm digging that. I'm digging the chemistry. And I don't know, I really just hope, I hope we get some couples who last, because we always know it's not going to be 5 out of 5. But I hope we get some couples who really put in the work and commit. They seem like a cute couple together. I like when they were in bed and they were having that conversation about their upbringing and their difficulties. And Nate really is the hustler with the heart. Like he cried a couple times. He cried when he was having a meal with her family. He cried. Well, he didn't cry, but he's willing to be vulnerable, emotional, and I think that's endearing. And I think she finds that really endearing and attractive as well. I think he's a Pisces. I saw the tattoo, right? And then I saw he had like a Korean tattoo too. So he talked about, I think, his mother. I don't remember the scene, if he was talking behind the cameras, because it looked like he was being interviewed by the cameras, not with her. But his mother wasn't really a part of his life, and that. But he had like a Korean tattoo on his arm, and yeah, his mother is Korean. He talked about his difficulties, his struggles growing up, or like traveling to different places where people didn't speak English very well. And he was always considered the weird kid. And then on top of that, he was mixed. And when he came to the States, people were just like, what are you? Which one? And he wasn't ever really accepted for who he was. So I thought that was really interesting. And she could relate to that. And I love that she could relate to that. I think that's great. They have that connection. And I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, wow, that's so deep for them to connect on that level. When Nate was having a conversation with Stacia's family, he was getting really vulnerable. He's like, my dad has helped me through a lot. So he really respects his dad. So in my previous review, I was like wondering why he struggled so much with where he was at with his job. But his company, like it failed or something didn't work out. And he was talking about how his dad has done so much for him. So I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I don't know. He just got to a point where it got out of control when it came to his business. So I liked his honesty when he had that conversation. And I liked that he was willing to share and shed tears about his experience with his father, being such an awesome person in his life. Stacia, so she was sitting with his family and they were having a conversation about they're both stubborn. She's like, oh yes, I'm strong-willed, I'm independent, I work a lot. And I'm like, girl, so like I'm hearing Stacia, this is why I'm like, I want Stacia to make the show on how she like got to where she's at and becoming successful. Because I'm like, it sounds like her mindset is solid. But like my thing is the lifestyle that she's describing, her work lifestyle, does not seem conducive. Am I using that word right? Does not seem conducive to a healthy, like regulated family life. Working 15 hours in the day does not seem like there's any room for kids, let alone really building a new partnership connection with her partner. So I don't know. You know, I'm glad she found the confidence in herself to just like go for her goals and achieve them. And I'm all about that. But I'm like, okay, now you have a whole husband to bring into your life. How is this going to work in the mix? You know? So I don't know. I don't know. Here's like my thing is like, it sounds like she's just in a place where she's really proud, but I'm like, I don't know if she's really thought about what she's going to have to change to create that lifestyle. Maybe she knows a couple who has that intensive power couple lifestyle. My question is then, what has she learned from them or learned that she has to do? Because I'm hearing like really good words, but I'm also hearing potential. I'm not hearing like actual solutions for how am I going to create room and space for my partner? Because there's a lot like that needs to shift to make space for that. So that's just my thing with them. Other than that, they got a lot of chemistry. They're really cute together. They both are really attracted to each other. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say for them. I think I'm on to the last couple. Yeah. Okay, so Morgan and Ben. Morgan and Ben finally got married. And yeah, it was awkward. It was awkward, but it was cute. They felt kind of like the same level of nerdiness, like awkwardness to me. And I always think that's cute. If you can match your partner on that level, I'm like, let's do it. Right? If we're the same, let's be awkward together in this journey. Yeah, they both seemed like really charismatic up there as they were talking about their vows. I love that Ben memorized his vows. I thought that was awesome. He's like, well, I had a couple of days because I was sick. So I love that he memorized his vows. I thought that was fantastic. Later on, they were having their champagne moment, and it was a little bit awkward. Like, the body language was very, because you're meeting a stranger. I know they're a stranger, but it's like, do I touch you? Like, they were very much hands to self. And then she was talking about her Muay Thai experience, like, and her tattoo. And I thought it was cute. I thought it was a really cute, sweet introduction for the two of them as a couple. His mother was immediately like, let's have the grandkids today. Let's bring grandkids in today. And didn't he bring that up with her? I swear that was like one of the first conversations, something about kids. And she's like, well, I have a cat. So I don't know if both of their timelines are the same when it comes to that, because I think he's more like practical and direct about like his goals and what he wants. And he, I believe, is like first generation in the United States because his mother has a very strong accent. So I feel like she moved here, maybe had him here, right? So he's like first generation American. And he has a strong feeling of obligation to his family because he's first generation, right? His family is really depending on him and was absolutely uplifting him to be successful. You know, first generation, that ain't easy because your parents really, they had to basically start all over, build from the ground up to get to where they're at as immigrants. So there is a different kind of expectation for your kids than, you know, kids who are like just living here in the United States for generations and generations. So he has like a strong sense of responsibility on his shoulders to like knock out goals. Whether this is the right fit for him and Morgan, I don't know. We'll have to see. Things did not look good in the previews. Now let's talk about the previews really quick before I end this review. Now, they showed all the great moments, like people getting along, kissing, hugging, connecting. It was great. And then they showed all of the ugly scenes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to have drama this year. Every couple is going to have like some kind of dramatic moment. So with that said, we're going to see how everything unfolds. And I will be back next time with another review for Married at First Sight. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening. Like, subscribe, support the channel.